OK, so it's Manchester City then who advanced to the semi-finals of the FA Cup after that late victory at Goodison Park, breaking the hearts of Everton fans who've been desperate, Cass, to win a trophy. Last time they won it, of course, was the 1995 FA Cup final, which incidentally I was at.
Oh,
yes, I know, as a youngster.
That was beating Man United, wasn't it?
Yeah, Paul Rideout.
Yeah,
I know, bizarre. I was there. But anyway, as I say, two late goals, and really interesting to hear from both managers there. Carlo Ancelotti referring to Manchester City as the world's best team with the world's best bench, and that's something we can probably all agree with.
Yeah, I don't know how much I could add up the bench, but it's going into hundreds of millions, that's for sure. I don't know what you can say. It's very hard to be critical of a team that got to keep it 0-0 for 84 minutes. Okay, now you could make two arguments here. You could go, well, is the objective to get to penalties, or is it the objective to get to penalties via set pieces and even maybe nick it? Because they look dangerous from set pieces, Everton.
Yeah,
but not much more. Open play is a disaster zone against Man City. It's very, very hard to beat them. You know, I know they lost to Man United at Old Trafford, but generally everybody's going to get played off the park, dominated with the ball, can't get close to them, and that was that yesterday.
So what did you make of the tweak that he made, Ancelotti? Because he went for a back three.
Back three, back five. Yeah, I look, for 84 minutes, he's kept it in 0-0. So you sort of say, well, fair play to you, because not many teams can even get close to doing that. Do I think Everton caused them many problems? No, because set pieces were the only avenue they looked like scoring. I don't really know what you can do with a calibre of player that's up against you, and it doesn't matter who plays for Man City. It doesn't matter that they leave 6 out, 7 out. Their quality in every position is there for you. If you watch them, I mean, there was a moment yesterday, Phil Foden controlled the ball, and I had to press pause, rewind it, and see how he controlled it in the 18-yard box, because he's been whipped in a ball to him. He took it under control like he'd caught it. He's using his hands like his feet, and it stops immediately, and then he just runs with the ball. And I don't know. It's very, very difficult to criticise or even question Everton and what they attempted yesterday. But I think it was a fair idea that if we can get the penalties and maybe nick it via set piece, because they are just so superior. They just dominate everything from the back to the midfield and onwards.
Well, you're right. They made 6 changes to the team.
Did you see the passes? Did you see the passes numbers?
No, I didn't.
Have a game. Oh, Natalie, it was incredible. It was like reading 200 passes at 29. And it was just like, I just felt sorry for him. I mean, I remember playing in a game. We played with Republic of Ireland against Portugal when they had a really good side. And we lost 3-0 away. And I'd never played in a game that we just couldn't get the ball off the opposition. And that's what it's like playing City week in, week out for all these Premier League teams. It's really hard to get the ball off them.
But as we said, it took until, the 84th minute for Manchester City to score their first goal through Ilkay Gundogan, and then Kevin De Bruyne scored 1 6 minutes later to complete the scoring. But obviously De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez, 2 players that were brought on that kind of changed the game. And as we mentioned, Ancelotti said that they've got the world's best bench. That strength in depth, that squad depth, it's just incredible. And I know it's obvious to be talking about it, but it is, and they are game changers that can be brought on.
The club have spent an enormous amount of money. They've not really broke the record in transfer fees, but they, if you put it all together,
it's the accumulation of players,
accumulation of money they've spent is extraordinary, and you can't say that very few of them have not made the standard. The ones they've brought in have been a very high level, and I don't know what to, people, and it was mentioned, they were talking about it on air during the game yesterday about, if they buy Haaland. I keep thinking it's the worst club for Haaland to go to, because the centre forward's the one who doesn't really get a kick. If you think of Gabriel Jesus yesterday, you find it really hard to get into the game.
So that was I was going to mention. I mean, there were a few opportunities for Manchester City earlier on in the game, but they just lacked a bit of that clinical edge, I suppose, towards.
Yeah, but the system's built really on possession and also wide men and midfielders brilliantly technically. And the movement is extraordinary. And it's hard to stop. And we're going to talk about other teams a bit later, but the amount of teams that are trying to play without centre-forward now, but they ain't got the players technically good enough to do it. Because if you're going to play without centre-forward, by God, you've got to be good technically out wide and in the midfield. And they're across every position, full-back, centre-halves, midfielders, wide men, they're all brilliant here. And it's very hard to contain such a gifted side.
It's now the international break. 9 games left for Everton in the Premier League. At the moment, 12 games still to go for Manchester City, but that all depends on how much further they go in the FA Cup and within the Champions League as well, which is quite incredible.
They'll probably get 15 games still. I mean, Bayern in the semi, I think. But they'll beat Dortmund. I'm sure of that.
But again, that's where that strength and depth is so important to Manchester City, because they have so many more games to play.
Yeah, they do. And he utilises his squad brilliantly as well. You know, we've seen Foden being left out and everyone's scratching their head and thinking, why is he not in the team? He's been brilliant. And then someone else comes in and has been brilliant. And Gundogan's in, and they can if you can look at their bench and they can afford to leave the players that they've left out and think they come back into that team, everyone's playing for second place, I'm afraid. They've kicked on again, City.
Just one more word on Everton then. They are 7th in the Premier League. They're on 46 points. They're 5 points off Chelsea as things stand, but they do have a game in hand over Thomas Tuchel's side. Obviously, disappointment to be knocked out of the FA Cup. Can they now push on and try and get into those European spots?
I
Is the
don't
Europa
quite think they
League
got enough.
The best, perhaps?
Well, the Europa League's the trophy that I think a lot of managers don't want to get in.
True.
So it's Champions League or nothing really for me, for Everton. But they've had a really good season. Don't judge your season by certainly playing against Man City. If you want to take anything out of the game, you just can't.
So disappointment for Everton, but the quadruple quest continues for Manchester City after that late win at Goodison Park sees them through to the FA Cup semi-finals.